My story this morning comes out of Law 360. The headline is California sues cannabis companies over illegal inhalable hemp. Now, I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Omar Figueroa, who started this. Out here in California, we have a couple of laws that the industry's had some difficulty with. One of them is called Prop 65. And the state has told us that Delta 9 THC is a carcinogen and beta myrcene's a teratogen, and they're on a list out here, and you got to put a warning on your cannabis products, okay? And also, we passed a hemp law 2 years ago, and they outlawed inhalable hemp products until such time as the legislature came up with a way to tax it. So selling inhalable hemp products in California is illegal currently. So it looks like Omar went out and bought a couple of products online, had them sent to California, which gave California jurisdiction over this whole thing. And they didn't have a warning on them, and they were inhalable products, which was illegal. Omar's warned them, and the state attorney general stepped in and took over. And now he's filed a suit under our Fair Business Practices Act, which stands for the proposition you can't sell things illegally. Other businesses have a right to come in and stop you, and you have to give these warnings, or it's an unfair business practice. So what the attorney general did, he sued 9 companies. Only one of them is a California company. 8 of them are out-of-state companies. They were all selling online and having products sent to cities in the state of California, or residents of California. So what the attorney general has done is he's filed an action for injunction to make them stop, and for damages. And the damages on this could be quite substantial because they're a minimum of $1,000 per violation per day. It could be as high as $2,500. So if you go out and do discovery on these companies and get a hold of their records of how much have they sent in the state of California, and bend over, grab your ankles, this could be a high fine they're going to impose upon them. The other thing I noticed, and this may be inside a baseball for attorneys, but they're required to file a verified answer. Now that gets kind of tricky because in most cases, if you go file a complaint in court, it's a bunch of allegations, and I get to file we call a general denial, say I deny them all, and let's go forward. But in this case, the Attorney General has filed a complaint as a government entity. You have to file a verified answer, which means you got to declare under penalty of perjury the answers you're giving are true. And if you don't know, you've got to say that I'm informed and believe it's true. Now, that boxes these guys in. Of course, you can claim the Fifth Amendment, which just makes this whole thing worse. So what we're going to see here, if we just talked a moment ago about enforcement, this is a way that the states, the state attorney generals and local prosecutors can go after businesses in the cannabis space and make their life miserable without putting a single person in jail. So that's my story for today. We'll watch this as it unfolds. I'll throw it back out to you. What do you all got to say?
Man, I want to hear what Dr. Mark has to say about this.
Yeah, I guess my story is related. Hey, Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I think it goes to show that they weren't thinking too hard and didn't contemplate the implications of the 2018 Farm Bill. I think clearly they didn't think this through. I believe they got snookered on fiber, seeds, and rope and paper, and forgot that CBD can be chemically converted into psychoactive products. Do people, I've seen this in non-legal states where they're actually selling hemp flower in jars that looks like cannabis when you go into a dispensary. This was sort of what I was thinking during the discussion around the New York market, is that they've blurred the lines between the bodega, the smoke shop, the vape shop, and the dispensary, especially in New York. But I remember, I think I was in St. Louis several years ago. I remember because I was rushing to get to the barbecue in time. And I needed to get a torch because I was flying with a rig, but I didn't have a torch. So I went to a local smoke shop that wasn't allowed to sell cannabis, but they certainly had just a huge display of smokable hemp flower. So it looked a lot like cannabis. They were the tops of buds, very nicely manicured, and certainly had great jar appeal and had good nose and good terps on them. And, to the uneducated individual who maybe doesn't realize what cannabis does to them, they'd smoke that and think that they're smoking weed.
Yep.
So I mean, it's a shit show that I don't think they contemplated fully when they legalized industrial hemp.
To your.
Well, and
Oh, go ahead, Dale.
the problem, Mark, is that when the definition of hemp came out, it was after Meshulam was able to isolate THC, and they came up with a number. But before that, hemp was like, smoke it. If it doesn't get you high, then it ain't marijuana. Okay, because I've had that experience before. And when they throw that line in the sand, now they got the problem with seeds, because you get a seed. The seed doesn't have more than 0.3% THC. But if it's from a marijuana plant or cannabis plant with high THC, now what is it? And I've had this problem just recently with a client of mine who got seeds that were legal to buy, but they tried to put them into the closed cannabis system, and it blew up in their face. Okay? We do not have an answer here, and every time they take a step without a definition, asshole lawyers will go out and find every crack they can find, and I'm one of them, so I'm following my sword about this. Our job's to look for every crack we can find to support our clients, and that's what we're having. It's a free for all right now. Nobody's what the hell they're doing. And if you go clear back to the split where medicine was taken away from nutraceuticals and all that stuff back in the early part of the 20th century, we still don't have guidance on what is a nutritional supplement, what's a drug. The Controlled Substances Act is single molecule, as Jason reminds us a lot, but they have marijuana in there, which has got hundreds of molecules in it. This is all nonsensical from a science standpoint. So it's easy to poke holes in this in court, but it doesn't help a damn person out there trying to figure this out.
You're very right, and Mark, to your point, I mean, I remember I was at a trade show in Florida, and there was a bunch of tables that all had weed on them in jars just for display. And a friend of mine walked up to one of the Florida state troopers or law enforcement, whatever, and asked him, "Can you tell the difference between weed and hemp?" And they just laughed. And so therefore, they if cops can't even tell the difference, I mean, the only person that's going to tell the difference is someone that actually consumes it and smokes it. And so it's just
Or someone with an HPLC, right? That could make an injection and tell you this has got CBD, this has got THC.
yeah. But I mean, who carries a HPLC around with them, Dr. Mark?
Well, now they actually have those orange little analyzers that you can take out into the field, and they don't cost as much as an HPLC. So they do have a portable analyzer that doesn't really give you ballpark results.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't give you accurate results. It gives you
results.
estimate, and when we have numbers that are as small as 0.3 and whatnot, you need something that is much more analytical in order to really tell.
That's correct.
That's just the reality.
I'm with Dr. Mark.
Calibrate it in the field.
Exactly.
I'm with Dr. Mark. I think they got duped, and I like it. I love it.
I heard that some of those people, they calibrate their shit with boof, so then that way they always get a low rating. But nonetheless,
They're using your weed, Jason?
no, they're using that outdoor weed that got your eyes all red in that video, Gretchen.